Baseball fans took notice earlier this year when Atlanta's new face, Aaron Harang, took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, opposite a mirrored performance from Milwaukee's Matt Garza. Tonight, that duo tangles again as two of the National League's best clubs face off in the finale of this 4-game set. It's the Brewers and it's the Braves, and Game 4 is next on Sports South. Here's to another fun night of Braves baseball here at Turner Field. A special evening. It's Andrelton Simmons bobblehead night. There you go, David. Nice work. It's the Braves and it's the Milwaukee Brewers for the final time in the 2014 season. All year long, Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. Let's see if Atlanta can win this series outright. They'll try to win it 3-1 if they can knock off Matt Garza and the Brew Crew tonight. Hi again, friends, with Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine. Chip Carey back at the ballpark. Let's put last night in the rearview mirror. Milwaukee hit a couple of long home runs to beat the Braves in Game 3 of the series. And tonight, a rematch of a terrific pitching matchup on April the 2nd up at Miller Park in Milwaukee. Can Matt Garza and Aaron Harang turn the magnificent pitching trick again tonight?
Boy, they were both making their debuts for their respective teams, and I don't know how they could have pitched much better. Both took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, and it was a great matchup. Aaron Harang gave up 2 hits, went 6 2/3 innings. He gave up a couple of hits in the 7th, came out of the game, but threw a shutout while he was in there, and the Braves eventually won the game in a shutout. He couldn't have pitched much better.
No, he couldn't have, and the same thing can be said for Matt Garza, trying to make that initial first impression with his new ball club as well. Took the loss, 8 innings of baseball, pitched extremely well. Both sides of the plate moving the ball around, had the Braves hitters off balance, and really was the pitching matchup early in the season that everybody was talking about around baseball. So we'll see if we can do that. See if they can do that again tonight.
Chris Johnson hit a homer that decided the game up in Milwaukee. Let's see if the Braves bats can resume their good and hot work on a hot night here in Atlanta, Georgia. The starting pitching is not the only story for Atlanta. The Braves relief corps is really on a remarkable roll. And when we come back, Tom Hart will tell you all about that as the Braves and Brewers meet tonight.
These Atlanta Braves, a first-place team still with a game-and-a-half lead on Washington in the East. Final game of this series against another first-place team, the Brewers, in the National League Central. Welcome back to Turner Field, everybody. Yeah, you've heard the talk already about the great pitching matchup tonight and how sensational it was the first time Matt Garza and Aaron Harang met back in Milwaukee early part of the season. You know what else was great that night? The Braves bullpen. In fact, they were perfect following Aaron Harang, who took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, and it seems they've been nearly perfect since. Yeah, the Braves have the best ERA in all of the National League, and the bullpen is pulling its weight. In fact, since April 20th, the final 27 games, the ERA is the best in baseball. They've stranded 84% of the runners, best in baseball. Strikeouts per 9 innings pitched, second best in the National League. The whip is third best in the National League. And then there's the rookie David Hale, who has the top ERA among all rookie pitchers in the National League. And since moving into the pen, he's gone 11 shutout innings as a reliever. Our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard is impressive no matter how you slice it. And that Braves bullpen is hoping, like most of the season, they don't have much work to do. The second least used bullpen in all of baseball, thanks to the best starting pitching in all of the National League. See if Aaron Harang can continue that again tonight. His nemesis, Matt Garza, will be his opposition. It's a final meeting of the season between two first-place clubs. It's the Braves and the Brewers. We'll check out the starting lineups and first pitch right after this.
Atlanta Braves baseball was presented by AT UVerse, Delta Airlines, and Ford.
Hamilton, should we wear a tie tonight? Absolutely not. It's 90-something degrees here at Turner Field.
Good answer.
As the Braves try to take 3 out of 4 from the Milwaukee Brewers tonight. As we've said a couple of times, fun pitching matchup this evening. Aaron Harang for Atlanta. Matt Garza will go to the post for the first-place Brewers, who lead the Cardinals by 2.5 in the National League Central. A different look to their Toyota starting 9 tonight. Carlos Gomez, he's not in the lineup. They're just trying to be very careful with his back, which was a problem for him last week. So Gene Segura will lead off and play short. Jonathan Lucroy will clean up, and boy, he's done that against Atlanta pitching this year. Logan Schaefer will play center field in Gomez's absence. And fellows, a story we've talked about a lot with his Braves pitching staff is one that Matt Garza can relate to. He has not gotten an awful lot of run support this year in his first with the Milwaukee Ball Club. He's on the hill tonight and is looking for his 3rd win of this 2014 season. Aaron Harang hopes to stay hydrated on a hot night. 87 degrees and humid. Winds are out of the west-northwest, blowing straight across the ballpark from the left field foul pole to right. So that might favor the left-handed batters in our season wrap-up with the Brewers, who head to Miami, and they open up a 3-game set with the Marlins down at Marlins Park beginning tomorrow night. So Aaron Harang back to the mound in Atlanta. Tommy, a 4-4 record, an ERA under 3, and this is his 10th start.
Yeah, he's been pitching well, coming off a tough loss his last time out. 6 innings of 6-hit, 3-run, 2-earned run baseball with 7 strikeouts against the Cardinals. So a little bit unlucky in that appearance. You're seeing 25 career starts against the Brewers, 7-6 with a 4.01 ERA. His last 8 starts, though, have been kind of a similar story. Only 2-2, but a real good ERA. So maybe the fact that Matt Garza struggles to get some runs will work in Aaron's favor tonight.
And Aaron's 4 keys to pitching success. As we have said over and over again with respect to Aaron, keep it on the down low. Bottom part of the strike zone is very important for Aaron, and pitch count. The reason I say pitch count is that he hasn't been able to pitch real deep into ball games because he does use up his pitch count early. 5 different times he's gone 6 innings and has been over 101 pitches in those 6 innings. So maybe tonight some early outs will help him get a little deeper in the ball game.
Aaron's been awfully good in the big ballparks in his major league career, and he's hoping the Braves defense will be good behind him tonight. Dan Uggla gets the start for the Braves. He's back in the lineup out at second base. Hayward, BJ, and Justin Upton from right to left. Chris Johnson and Freddie Freeman are the cornermen, and of course Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop. He's got to play on his bobblehead night. Still no Evan Gattis. The viral symptoms still an issue. He's hopeful of playing here against the Rockies tomorrow night.
I asked Gerald Laird around the batting cage today, have you already gone in and asked bench me or trade me? And he goes, wow, 3 games in a row.
Gene Segura is the hitter and takes high from Harang.
Yeah, it's not easy for those guys that aren't used to playing every day to get out there for 2, 3, 4 consecutive days.
And Segura pops one out of play, even count. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Nice play.
Yeah, right off the bat
with his hat over the railing. Good catch.
That fan from Roswell. Always good fielders up there.
As Segura bunt try, Johnson bare hand throws on the run, and Segura with a bunt single starts the game for the Brewers.
Good bunt here. Might see a lot of bunt attempts tonight with both Harang and Garza.
Deja vu for Aaron. In his last start, the Cardinals bunted 4 times in that game for hits. That was a Cardinals franchise record for most bunt hits in a game since they started keeping that record back in 1974.
Well, that takes care of the effort for a no-hitter for the first 6 innings tonight for Aaron.
Here's Scooter Gennett, the Brewers' second baseman. Quick strike. Couple of hits for Gennett last night, and he scored a first inning run ahead of Mark Reynolds' grand slam off Irvin Santana. Got to keep an eye on Segura. He's got 8 steals and he's running. The pitch is low. The throw to second is high. What a try by Simmons, though, with a swipe tag. And Segura steals second base with nobody out.
I like the fact that the bobblehead guy doesn't give up on this. He even was trying to tag him on the back on his foot just in case he hadn't gotten to the base yet.
For the second straight game, Milwaukee did not take batting practice before the ball game. That was the story yesterday, and they broke out for the 6 runs.
They wouldn't be superstitious or anything, would they?
Nah.
Scooter Gennett, a 1-1 count. And back to the screen.
I asked Dave Baker and Gretchen Caney to look something up for me today. It's our Home Depot tools from the dugout, and it has to do with the Brewers scoring runs. They have not scored a run without a homer in 52 innings. That's a lot of work to try to look something up like that. Dave did most of the work, so he tells me.
1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, you're not making it easier for us for trivia later.
I was going to say, we're going to feel Gretchen's ire after that.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Dave will help us out.
All help accepted. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Simmons tries to keep Segura close. There's Harang ready. And a high fly ball hammered down the right field line. Right size, wrong shape for Jeanette. And a long, loud foul ball keeps the at bat alive. He's hit a couple of homers this year. Milwaukee as a club has hit 47. That's 2 more homers than the Braves team. And a swing and there's a tip. Well, Jeanette's not making his way to the dugout, so foul ball.
No sign from Field and Culbreth on the foul ball. I'm not sure what that sign was that he was pointing at. Almost like he was saying that he swung and missed, but
yeah, like the ball was in play.
Into the seats, foul. Two balls, 2 strikes. Shallow pop towards center, and B.J. Upton's going to get there. Jeanette is subdued. Took Harang a few more pitches than he would have liked, but he likes the end result. 1 on, 1 out now for Ryan Braun.
Well, if we've learned anything in this series about Ryan Braun, it's that he doesn't want to stand at the plate very long and subject himself to all the booing. So he's been swinging at the first pitch a lot.
Last chance for the fans in Atlanta to give it to Ryan Braun. Braves have made life tough on him at the plate. He's 3 for 24 against Atlanta pitching this year. And a strike from Harang, 0-1. Braun 7 homers, 19 runs batted in. His batting average at .294. He's had some thumb problems this year. He's had an oblique problem this year. And a roller towards short. That ball stayed down for Simmons, but he hung with it and took care of one. And he's out on 2 pitches. Segura still at second with 2 men down. So here's the hottest hitter against Atlanta this year in this Milwaukee roster. That's Jonathan Lucroy, the catcher. He's had a big series. He's 6 for 10 here in Atlanta. And hitting .500 overall against the Braves. But he doesn't have a career hit against Aaron Harang. So let's see how this plays out.
Well, even though the guy on deck had the big blow last night, this is a guy I think you still got to be careful with.
Freddie Gonzalez said the same thing today, Tom, about last night. You know, he even asked Roger McDowell, said, is it too early to walk a guy? And he said, and then get to Reynolds. And I said, well, we were kind of thinking the same thing upstairs. And I made a comment that after they were loaded that, well, this is probably a good fit as much as Reynolds strikes out. And I said, and I had no more said fit and bang. He said, well, that's kind of the way it was with me too, and my thoughts.
One ball, one strike. You could certainly understand the strategy if the Braves weren't scoring a lot of runs. They were held down last night, but they've had a much improved offense last 3-4 games collectively. As Lucroy drives one down the right field line, that's slicing, but it's a fair ball. And Segura will come around and score. Lucroy has his first ever hit against Aaron Harang, and it's an RBI double. So the Braves pitched to him, and Lucroy made the Braves pay. It's 1-0 Milwaukee.
First run without a homer in 52 innings. Oh, he left it up.
Yeah,
got to keep it on the down low.
Down low. I'll tell you what, he's wearing out from right center field to that right field line. He's just been wearing that out in this series.
He's a good player.
Yeah, I mean that sums it up.
So Mark Reynolds hits with a man in scoring position. He did serious damage last night. His third career grand slam. And the first ever allowed by Santana. Line to third, and Chris Johnson's there to make the play. And that will retire the side. A run on 2 hits. Jonathan Lucroy's 17th RBI gives Matt Garza a first inning lead tonight at Turner Field. Look at right-hander Matt Garza, who starts play with a 2-4 record. The Toyota starting 9 has a different look. B.J. Upton back in the number 2 spot. Justin Upton cleaning up. That's what he's done in his last 4 ball games. I mentioned Dan Uggla starting at second base. He last started for the Braves May 18th up in St. Louis.
And they'll face right-hander Matt Garza, making his 10th start on the year, 2-4 with a 4.83 ERA. Career against the Braves in 4 starts. 0-3 with a 4.5 ERA, and that includes 2 starts here at Turner Field where he's 0-1 with a 7 ERA.
Matt Garza's pitching keys to success tonight, his 4 keys. Joni Mitchell. Remember the song by Joni Mitchell and Judy Collins? Both Sides Now?
No.
I remember it, Joe.
Thanks. He was wanting me to sing it. I'm not going to. Well, that's what Garza's got to do to be successful. He's got to work both sides of the plate and use his slider to be effective, but he's also got the yips a little bit. He has a little trouble throwing to bases. He doesn't really like to throw over and hold runners. You can bunt on him. We'll see if that plays a part in tonight's game. Joni Mitchell and yips. That's a first.
Garza, you might recall, was a Chicago Cub. They then traded him to the Texas Rangers. The Cubs got a huge haul in return for Garza, who went to Texas for the playoff push. Then he became a free agent and signed with Milwaukee this offseason. He is 0-3 lifetime against the Braves. And to face Hayward, B.J. Upton, and Freddie Freeman in the bottom of the first inning. Matt is a very, very deliberate worker, too. Not something the Brewers will be thrilled about on a travel night down to Miami. Come on, Matt. And Hayward swings at the first pitch and skies it toward left. Davis in foul ground near the stands is there. And he makes a long running catch to retire Hayward on the game's first pitch. 1 up, 1 down. B.J. Upton, I don't want to say was real vocal about it, but he wasn't real thrilled with the idea of hitting 6th for the Braves. So tonight he's hitting 2nd in front of Freddie Freeman. And he takes the ball high. 1 ball, no strikes. Different approach, obviously, between hitting 6th versus hitting 2nd in a National League lineup.
Yeah, but for BJ, whatever works.
Popped up, long run over Bay. He's in foul ground. He's going to have room, and there's the 2nd out. Upton wants to know if it was a strike. The answer, I believe, was an affirmative, and 2 pop outs. Earns Garza the first 2 outs of the first inning.
Well, make no mistake about it. He's got a good fastball. His 2-seamer and 4-seamer that range from 89 to 96 at times. But his slider is his out pitch, and he'll use a changeup to left-handed hitters.
Another first pitch swing. And Freeman will swing again. That one's in the seats.
Now remember, the Braves beat him 1-0 on that Chris Johnson home run, but he only gave up 1 other hit and went 8 innings. So he was outstanding in his own right that day that he lost to Aaron Harang 1-0.
Garza signed the largest free agent contract in the history of the Brewers. 4 years, $50 million. After going 6-1 with the Cubs last year and then 4-5 with the Rangers. He did not have a good spring. He had an 8-point ERA for Milwaukee. And is out of the gate at 2-4 with an ERA just below 5 runs a game as a Brewer.
Yeah, not the start he was hoping for in a new uniform.
He's had some strange line scores. Look at some of his games, like Braves game, the walk, 7 strikeouts. He's had 3 other games where he's done that. And then he's had some games where it's 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. So you wonder if he's just had some issues with his command and being consistent from start to start, and you know, just is having a hard time figuring out what he's trying to do on a start by start basis. But you know, typically he's very similar to Kyle Loesch, that pitched last night. Like I said, he's going to work both sides of the plate, use all his pitches, but if he doesn't have his good command, it's tough to do that.
New bat for Freeman, and it'll continue with a 1-2 count.
Tom, from this point forward, if you want to refer to both sides of the play, just yell out Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell.
We'll know what you're talking about.
So it's just, he's got good stuff, Joni Mitchell's, and keep the ball down. Okay.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Good at bat for Freddie.
Yeah, we don't see too many of these. He either gets them quick or they get him quick.
Yep. You know he loves the first pitch, especially in RBI situations. Here he's forcing Garza to make an eighth pitch and 12th of the inning. And another one's coming. Frustrating, isn't it?
Oh, as a pitcher, absolutely.
So let's see what Lucroy and Garza conjure up here with the bases empty, 2 outs.
Yeah. Keep spoiling his out pitches. Keep trying to make him throw one more and hope he makes a mistake.
Line drive to first, and Overbay is there to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down in the Atlanta first. It's 1-0 Milwaukee.
Back to August 16th of 2012, our SunTrust shining moment. Some guy named Chipper, they made a bobblehead for him. He went yard early, saluted the crowd, and showed his teammates what the bobblehead looked like. Then he did it again. Dirty uniform at all. 2 home runs on Chipper's bobblehead night. The guys in the clubhouse today had a lot of fun with that because Angleton is a guy who is ready to play this game. Angleton is a player that was excited that the bobblehead was so realistic because it has dirt on the uniforms. When talking about it, he said it's probably a guy who just made a diving stop and turned a double play.
Thank you, Tom. Lyle Overbay leads off the second for Milwaukee. He's a 200 hitter. And here is Simmons. Backhand play. And he gets his man easily. 1 up, 1 down.
One of the other compliments, Tom, I thought, was the fact that they made his glove gold.
Absolutely. Got to get that in there.
You know, Freddie was talking about him today in his meeting with the media, and he said Andrelton Simmons is a guy that snaps sometimes defensively. He said offensively, some guys snap, they leave the bases loaded, they strike out, they come in, they throw their helmet, they get upset, and maybe they destroy a water cooler. Andrelton has such high expectations that he expects to make every play defensively. So he's the only guy that Freddie's seen that snaps defensively. Sometimes they have to calm him down if you can't get to a ground ball.
How about that? High expectations of himself. That's a wonderful thing.
That's what the good ones do.
Yeah.
This is Chris Davis, the Brewers left fielder. And he serves one into center, and Upton will catch that. There's out number 2. And Logan Schaefer, the batter. 4 at-bats for Schaefer in the series. He got the start last night and was 0 for 4. Schaefer's a terrific defensive outfielder. His season interrupted with a stint on the disabled list with a bad hamstring. With Gomez nursing a sore back, we'll put Schaefer in center field and let him roam between Davis and Ryan Braun tonight. The back issue for Gomez is not considered serious. In fact, he said before the game that he could play if needed. They want to make sure that they keep him as healthy as possible.
I think it's more muscle related. Yeah. I think it stemmed from a bed on the road trip that didn't suit him.
Left center field. That's going to get down between the Uptons. BJ over quickly on the warning track. Gets to the baseball, but not before Schaefer stands at second with the second double of the night for the Brewers.
Well, that one was down. It was a good piece of hitting.
Yep. Just trying to go away, threw it a little bit more over the middle of the plate, but yeah, down in the zone, and Schaefer just went with it, went the other way.
So at the very least, Milwaukee clears the pitcher. Matt Garza stands in with 2 outs. Tough times at the plate for Matt. He's 1 for 19. Pretty good cut. Strike 1. We've got the Rockies in town tomorrow night. 7:35 first pitch. Might be a long night for Colorado. They're in a rain delay at Coors Field.
Second one of the day.
So maybe watching our broadcast, doing a little early scouting as Harang takes a called strike and is ahead of Garza 0-2.
You know how dark it can get in at that ballpark when those storms roll in Denver. I think the first pause was in the 4th inning. You could barely see across Coors Field.
Garza down on strikes. Harang has his first punch out of the ball game, and the Braves send the middle of the order up, down a run in inning number 2.
Ahead here at the ballpark. Nice little collection of, I know, some famous and not so famous bobbleheads here at Turner Field. Andrelton Simmons' teammates said the likenesses are almost eerie. Not just it looked like him with the dirty uniform, but with that head bobble, it also acts like him a little bit.
This is like one of the first bobbleheads I've seen that the bobblehead's actually better looking than the player. So it's pretty much right on.
Jason likes it when I say two to him, like I shake my head. So he thinks he makes fun of me for that every time.
Got that right.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, learn this about the Simmons family today. Not only is Andrelton going to have to ship a couple dozen back to Curacao, but almost on a nightly basis, the Simmons family has a watch party in their backyard with a projection screen. So hello to everybody back in Mundo Nuevo, Curacao, watching us tonight and watching Andrelton do what he's been doing since he made it to the big leagues, impressing everybody.
That's hilarious what Gerald Laird said. That made me laugh out loud.
Tell you what, life must be tough. You got a big screen TV. You're sitting out back. You're watching a ball game in Curacao.
Yeah.
How good is that?
I bet they're having a great time.
I can think of worse things. That's for sure.
So hopefully the Braves can come back for the folks watching tonight. Justin Upton, Chris Johnson, and Andrelton Simmons, the man of the night, against that man, Matt Garza, here in the second inning. Justin's gotten hot again. Home cooking has treated him very well in 2014. And he's had a big series. And with that good work, Justin Upton has hit the jackpot.
3 homers and 7 RBIs in 4 games is pretty salty. And the 5th best home average in baseball at 400.
Driven a long way toward right, but not deep enough. Braun is there and makes the play. And it's 4 up, 4 down for Matt Garza. As hot as Justin has been, the exact opposite is true for Chris Johnson. He's 1 for his last 13 in this series.
Yeah, and just 2 for his last 21. This is the same type swing, though, that got him in trouble after about the first 10 games of the season. He went through about a 10-game stretch where he had a similar issue. He was kind of going out around everything instead of that nice inside-out swing.
And for me, Joe, when Chris is doing that, what pops out is that last number you saw on the bottom line there. This is a guy that normally doesn't strike out a lot. At least he didn't last year. And the strikeouts have really come at an alarming pace for Chris Johnson this year. Three of them last night in 4 trips. And a line drive into center. Schaefer is not going to get there. Johnson drops one in on a 2-0 count. And there's the first Braves hit of the night.
Well, you would figure it to be Chris Johnson. He's 5 for 9 with 2 homers off of Garza in his career. But I said to Chris today, he was sitting in the dugout, I said, you know, it can come back just as fast as it went away, because with his inside out swing, it wouldn't take long at all for him to get back in the groove.
So here is the Braves shortstop, Andrelton Simmons. That's downstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. Jonathan Lucroy double in the first inning with 2 outs. Scored Gene Segura. That's the game's lone run. Ball 2.
Matt Garza would much rather do that, step off and fake a throw, or just step off, hold the ball for a long time and then step off, to try to make you get a little tense at first base rather than throw over.
Yeah, if you don't like throwing over, there's some things you can do. You just mentioned hold the ball, change your cadence a little bit.
Mile high pop left side. Reynolds gives chase near the railing at third, and he won't have a play.
Kind of vary what you're doing from pitch to pitch and make it hard for that guy over there at first base to get a definite read on what you're trying to do.
Garza does something else that I don't know if you'd call it unique, but it certainly is something that's noticeable. When he comes to the set position, he's got the glove and the hand together, and that thing's shaking like there's a jumping bean in there.
Yeah,
what's that do?
Not quite Ryan Dempster-esque, but he's trying to not tip his pitches. I'm sure somewhere along the line maybe he was fanning on a changeup or doing something, getting his breaking ball. So now he just fans it the whole time.
Runner goes. The ball hit right between the legs of the second base umpire, and safe at second is Johnson. Wow, how about the coordination on that play? Right through the wickets of Seth Buckminster, the second base umpire, and Scooter Gennett hung with that play and flipped to Segura at short. Johnson called safe. The out went to first, and now that's going to draw Ron Renicky.
I thought it was a good call after his leapfrog act.
Tell you what, for any of our viewers out there that are hockey fans in particular, pay attention to the goaltending position at all. That's a heck of a play by the second baseman on that ball going through the umpire's legs, because there's a portion of time there, I guarantee you, he lost sight of the ball.
And Renicky got the high sign from the Brewers dugout to challenge this call. Clear and convincing evidence.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be out. Yep.
Would be needed to overturn the call on the field, which was safe.
I don't think this one will take too long. Ball is in the glove. I believe he's out.
That's going to be, we're right, a 4-6-3 double play, and a real impressive one started by Scooter Gennett. Garza will take a couple of warm-up tosses just to keep loose. For the moment, Chris Johnson's still atop the second base bag. We don't know what angles they're using or seeing. We've got two TV broadcasts, one from Milwaukee. We've got the Braves home broadcast as well. And if that's the angle they use, ball's in the glove, his foot's on the bag. Chris Johnson should be called out.
Yeah, he caught the ball. He definitely caught the ball before Chris's foot got there. But it was really very bang bang as to when Segura's foot hit the bag and Chris's hit the bag.
And this is the inherent problem that we have with replay on close plays like that. Fans don't know what angle is being seen in New York. The managers don't know. And this replay is taking an awful lot of time. But I think we have a resolution. And it is going to be an out. It's a double play. So it's a 4-6-3 double play started by the second baseman Scooter Gennett right through the wickets to the second base umpire. We go to the third inning. Again at Turner Field with the Rockies and the Red Sox coming to town. Get your Braves tickets in advance for Memorial Day weekend. Get them online as always at Braves.com. Boy, the Rockies are having themselves a terrific year. 26-21. They are 3 games at the moment behind the Giants. They're 16-7 at Coors Field. Only 10-14, however, away from home. And the first of 3 here tomorrow night. Friday night fireworks and a long weekend, so make your plans to see the Braves. As Gene Segura bats, he singled, stole a base, and scored on Lucroy's first inning double.
If the Rockies can ever figure out that old adage, you play 500 on the road and take care of business at home, man, as good as they are at home, they will be a tough team to beat if they could figure something out on the road.
Well, the whole city of Denver is going to be a humidor now if it's in a rain delay.
Yeah. I'm happy for Walt Weiss. You know, there was a little criticism about him being hired. He was coaching his son's high school team, I think, at the time he got hired. But he knows the game, really a good guy. And I think over the long haul, he's going to be an excellent field leader for them.
Yeah, he's like you say, knows the game and a no-nonsense guy. So you figure those guys would want to play hard for him.
Well, like Mike Matheny of the Cardinals too.
Yeah,
not a lot of managerial, if any, managerial experience, professionally speaking. But guys that know the game, played the game exceptionally well. As Segura splits the gap in left center field, that's going to roll for a while. Justin Upton's going to call off BJ, and Segura will stop at second with a leadoff double. But you guys know it's not so much about running the game, is it? But managing people.
That's what Freddie would tell you, that most of his work is done in the clubhouse, not in the dugout. Just trying to keep everybody's spirits up, keep everybody going in the right direction. And I think there is a learning curve. We saw some things happen in St. Louis that made you realize that even after a full year of managing, there are some things that Mike Matheny probably, especially that last day, would kick himself for doing.
Rosenthal fall for a 4th day.
Yeah. And learned the hard way on that.
This is Scooter Gennett. He'll try to advance the runner, and a bunt right off the plate. Harang has to hurry, loads up and threw right into the baseline, and somehow Freddie Freeman was able to snag the ball and avoid a collision. A terrific sacrifice by Scooter Gennett for out number 1.
Scares me to death every time this happens, and it happens a lot to Freddie being drawn into the runner. See a lot of first basemen get injured on just this type of play. Hopefully he will want to replay on that one, because he will be wrong.
So no challenge by Renicky on that play. And Ryan Braun's the batter. He grounded out in the first inning. Just 2 pitches seen by Braun in that at bat, and he's 3 for 25 against Atlanta. Infield in. Ball, no strikes.
I don't know about Segura, but that scared me. I flinched when Gerald came bouncing out of there.
Hey man, when you play 3 days in a row and you're not used to it, might need a week to recover. You got to break out the whole arsenal. 1-0 pitch, and Braun drives one out of play. Even count. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That was a great look, though, fundamentally at what you're supposed to do to go back to third base. Segura was coming down the line in foul territory until the pitch is delivered. And then once it's caught by the catcher, then go back in fair territory to try to block the catcher's view and get in the way of a throw if it's coming your way. Oh, good pitch. Look at this one move, Tommy.
Yeah, that front door sinker.
Had a high target.
So that was a break for Harang. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We've talked about it a lot. The Braves at times have tried to get that high strike, that higher than high strike. The pitch hasn't been quite high enough. They've been hurt on that play the first 2 months of the season. Let's see what Laird has in mind with a 2-2 count for Braun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a big believer that that's a pitcher by pitcher pitch. I don't think that's the kind of thing you can do across the board as a rotation or as a staff. Because some guys just, they're not good at it. They're so used to pitching down.
Way off the plate, full count. Braves killer Jonathan Lucroy on deck.
I don't know if Harang does it or not, but after that sinker in for strike 2, if he throws a changeup into right-handers at all, this would be a great time to do it.
Roller towards short. Infield in is going to cost Milwaukee a run. Braun's out number 2. Hit it someplace else, Milwaukee, if you want to get hits. You hit it to Simmons, you're more often than not an easy out.
It's amazing how many times with the infield drawn in, a guy will hit the ball right at somebody too.
So the infield backs up for Lucroy with 2 outs. Same scenario for Jonathan in this 3rd inning. See how carefully the Braves pitch him here. Do you like giving unintentional or intentional walks in the 1st inning, Tommy?
I didn't. I mean, I guess you'd rather not, but if the situation presents itself, it's just not a good matchup for whatever reason, then I didn't mind. I didn't have too much trouble pitching around guys every now and then.
Let's see if they do it here. 1-0. Looks like they're going to. 2 balls, no strikes.
This is where sometimes you get caught because, as good as Lucroy is swinging the bat, you look at his numbers against Aaron. You say, well, he was 0 for 10 coming in. So sometimes, that's where you get caught in between a little bit. Well, do I go off of what he's doing right now or what he's done against me in his career?
I'm kind of in that. What's he done the last 10 days?
Yeah.
I know what he's done the last 3 days, and that's where the Braves out.
Right. And I think you use that both ways. You can get a guy that wears you out, but if he hasn't been swinging the bat well for the last 10 days, then you might be more inclined to not pitch around him.
Well, he has been. Lucroy was 14 for 35 going into play last night, and he's got another hit and another RBI.
Yeah, and that's. Even though he's 0 for 10 off of Aaron coming into tonight, I don't think it matters who's on the mound right now. If he's got a Braves uniform on, he's seeing the ball really well.
So the Braves elect to pitch to Lucroy twice, and he burns him twice. Couple of RBIs for the Brewers catcher. Segura has scored both runs. And now Reynolds will bat with a man aboard and a 2-0 Milwaukee lead.
And I have to think, guys, that if last night in the 1st inning, if Matt Reynolds pops up or strikes out, then it's a whole different story tonight. I think that grand slam kind of influences you too as to how you pitch to the guy in front of him.
So that protection theory alters the Braves pitching staff's plans or sequences with this Brewer lineup.
I think it does with any lineup. Who do you want to face?
Reynolds down a strike. Now 2 strikes with 2 outs.
His top hand comes off the bat pretty early, but it is extremely fast from that point to the finish. It goes through the zone really quick.
Homers, 19 RBIs for Reynolds. And here's what this man has done since his 2007 debut.
Well, if you're in the top 10 in homers since 2000, way back to 2007, you've accomplished a lot.
And he also is right there in strikeouts too. So the Braves pitch to LaCroix, and he singles home a second run. Milwaukee leads 2-0 as Dan Uggla gets ready to lead off the Atlanta third. With a flourish against Milwaukee. Brewers, though, spoiling the fun, leading by a 2-0 score. Dan Uggla, Gerald Laird, and Aaron Harang coming up in the home third. Going back to Joe's last 10 games thing, Dan Uggla's had 4 at-bats in the last 10 games.
3 came in that one game in St. Louis, and he hit the ball hard twice with nothing to show for it.
He's 4 for 18 lifetime against Matt Garza. Brewers have a shift on. 3 defenders on the infield on the left side of the diamond. Right on that pitch and fouled straight back. Dan started the year 2 for 11 against Brewers pitching. The 2 hits were 2 doubles.
his situation's kind of like, and his at-bats are a little bit, it's morphed into kind of what Jordan Schaefer has to do, and that's be patient. You don't play every day. You get a pinch hit appearance every once in a while, and you try to make sure you get a good pitch, but you're so excited to be in there and getting an at-bat that it's hard to stay back.
But if Dan can do that, he can be a productive member of this offense. And I should say, do that in addition to get a few hits here and there. That's what kept him in the lineup for much of the season last year, guys. He walked a lot.
Right.
It's only his 7th walk this season. And the first of the night for Mr. Garza. Here's Gerald Laird. First pitch swing and a high drive center field. Schaefer going back onto the warning track. A couple of steps away from the fence. Hauls it in. There's out number 1. And Aaron Harang will be the batter. He's 1 for 18 at the plate. Garza very nearly surrendered the lead on that Laird at bat. There's a bunt. And Garza got rid of that baseball awfully quickly, didn't he?
Hot potato.
And he threw it to the vacant base. And Jeanette had to hustle to catch it.
It was sprinting over there. And it came over underhanded at that.
Yeah, I was curious if he was going to run it all the way over there or underhanded over there. You knew he wasn't going to make an overhanded throw if he didn't have to.
That was one of the keys. Make him handle the baseball if he can. Sacrifice successful. Garza had no trouble, and here's Hayward, who popped out his first time. LaCroix, nice stop. 1 ball, no strikes.
Been talking about LaCroix's hitting ability and how outstanding it is. He's an underrated catcher too, maybe in the same breath as a Jason Kendall type, you know, a guy that's not real big size wise but quick.
He doesn't get the recognition that a Yadier Molina gets or a Buster Posey gets with the Giants. I think he ought to. Maybe he'll be an all-star for Milwaukee this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hayward goes the other way. It's a base hit. Here comes Ugla around third. He will score without a throw. And the Braves are playing opposite field bingo in this homestand. And Jason Hayward knocks in his 11th run of the year.
Braves Live for those folks that didn't see it. Jerome Drinovich asked Brian Jordan what he liked about Jason Hayward's recent surge, and he said, I like the fact that he's going to left field. He's hitting the ball the other way, and I couldn't agree more. Good job here to take what he gave him.
Yeah, pitch on the outside corner and stayed there, let it travel, and drove it into left field.
Keep an eye on Hayward, who leads from first with 8 stolen bases. B.J. Upton popped out his first time. And outside, ball 1. These guys were teammates in Tampa Bay for many a year. Garza and B.J. Upton. Braves cash in a leadoff walk and a sacrifice bunt into their first run of the ball game. 2-1 score now, 3rd inning. And a mile-high pop toward right. Braun gallops in. He's there. And that will retire the side. Run on a hit. And we head to the 4th inning. It's a 2-1 score.
and AT&T.
Braves got to run back. They're down 1 now as we head to the Brewers half of the 4th inning. Jason Hayward goes the other way. Knocks in Dan Uggla for his 11th RBI. And now let's see if Harang can have an easy time of it. He has yet to turn in a 1-2-3 inning.
Well, you got to like it because they only got 1 hit. They exploited the leadoff walk.
Yeah, that's another one of those situations. As good as Jason's swinging the bat right now, I'm not sure I'd give him anything to hit in that situation.
Overbay toward left center field. Upton's not going to get there. That's going to bounce to the fence. That's the 4th Milwaukee double of the ball game. They're wearing out that bit of pasture in left center tonight.
Second straight leadoff double, too. First hit of the series for Overbay. Looked like he got a changeup that he was able to stay back on. He had been 0 for 14 against Atlanta for the year prior to that swing.
Chris Davis will try to move him along here. He flied out to center his first time. Davis hit a 2-run homer in the series opener.
They've had a man in scoring position every inning, and they're 2 for 7 today. 3 for 29 though in the series. They really scuffled the first 2 games in that category.
But tonight, as you mentioned, Joe, their first 2 runs in a long time without benefit of a home run.
Yeah, they had gone all week just about without manufacturing one. 52 innings.
Nice block by Laird. 2 balls and a strike. We'll keep you up to date on all the other scores. One final from our division already in today. The Marlins beat the Phillies. They walked off 4-3.
Christian Yelich with a 2-out single.
Ground ball short. Simmons fields and fires, and a productive at bat for Davis. Hit that ball in a perfect spot. I'm sure the Brewers would have liked to have seen him hit the ball to the right side there, but he forced Simmons to move just enough to eliminate any chance to get Overbay at third.
Well, you're taught as a base runner, and an Overbay is not overly fast, but if the ball's hit, if you're the runner at second base, if it's hit to your left, then go. Hard for the shortstop in that case to stop and throw back to third and get you.
So here's Schaefer with 1 out. Infield comes in again for the Braves. Schaefer has one of the Milwaukee doubles. That's taken high. Ball 1. Squeezes on. They got it down. And only 1 play, and it's to first. Schaefer's 6th RBI makes a 3-0 game for Milwaukee tonight. A 3-1 game, I beg your pardon, and a perfectly executed bunt.
Perfectly executed again by Lyle Overbay with his base running. With a left-handed hitter up there, the catcher can see pretty well if that runner starts breaking too soon, and they can try to do something about it. But he waited and waited.
Yeah, it was very well executed on both ends.
So Garza now back to a 2-run lead, 3-1 score. The Brewers ABC baseball and another here in the fourth.
Logan Schaefer's been impressive this series too.
Nice to know for Milwaukee that if one of their stars can't play, he can fill in admirably. As Garza's down on strikes, Harang has his third strikeout of the night, but not before Milwaukee adds a third run. Freddie Freeman, Justin Upton, and Chris Johnson are coming up. That's your Delta Airlines on-deck trio here in Atlanta. The bottom of the fourth inning, Freeman, Justin Upton, and Chris Johnson are scheduled to hit. Time for our AT UVerse trivia question. Ryan Braun and Justin Upton have hit the 6th and 7th most homers in the National League since 2012. Who has the most homers in the National League?
So that would be someone who has hit the most homers while in the National League. Since 2012. And normally I would pick somebody from the Phillies, but since things haven't gone so well over there and they haven't been healthy for the last couple of years,
Cross that off.
12-13.
Well, Matt Kemp comes to mind. He had a near MVP season the year that Ryan Braun won it out in Los Angeles for the Dodgers. We had Jay Bruce as an answer earlier this week. All the home runs, he's hit 20 or more in 5-6 years for the Reds.
How about Giancarlo Stanton?
And then you've got to think about all those Rockies hitters playing at Coors Field. We got Tulowitzki coming to town. You've got Carlos Gonzalez. There's a lot of choices to think about on the trivia tonight. And fortunately for us, a lot of time to get the answer. Freddie Freeman goes to work first. Three runs, 6 hits for Milwaukee, a run on 2 hits for the Braves.
Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm just thinking about him.
He leads the league this year in doubles already with 20. I think that's a good pitch. If you happen to get a called strike on Freddie, you know how antsy he would be on the next pitch, and to throw him like a changeup off the plate, that was a good selection.
He got jammed on the 1-1 pitch and a fly ball to center. Schaefer's got that for out number 1. Still raining in Colorado, where the Giants and Rockies hope to continue what is now a 2-2 game. Colorado will be here tomorrow night for a 7:35 first pitch. A little bit of a dust up in the media yesterday. Did you guys hear about Mike Krukow, our pal with the Giants broadcast? Krukow was wondering, as many people have over the years in Denver, about the incredible home batting average that Troy Tulowitzki has amassed. Krukow said, look, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but the Giants have accused them in the past of doctoring the baseballs or having the non-humidor balls when they're hitting and the humidor balls when the visitors were up there. Krukow was wondering, hey, is Troy Tulowitzki this good, or is he getting some help? He was just wondering, as these suspicious pitchers do, right?
Not accusing anything, just wondering.
Right.
Just wondering.
Well, Tulowitzki wasn't talking about it after the game, but apparently Tommy had a little fun today.
Yeah, sounds like it.
As he came up to the plate at Coors Field in Denver. Foul ball at the plate. Apparently Tulowitzki's response to the accusations of sign stealing was, his walk-up music was, I saw the sign.
That's pretty good.
Oh, Ace of Base. Great group.
Yeah, you got to have a little fun with it. Well, if you think they're stealing your signs, then change your signs. Use multiple signs with nobody on base.
Driven foul by Upton out of play. By the way, Tulowitzki, just in case you wondered, hitting .521 in his home ballpark. Seth Smith .427 at home for San Diego. Yadier Molina .419 for the Cardinals. Charlie Blackmon .402, and Justin Upton came in at .400 for the Braves.
I had a feeling there were a couple of Rockies in there.
Yeah. You know who leads the National League in batting average on the road?
No.
Jonathan Lucroy.
Well, he's patted it tonight.
What'd you say? Tulowitzki sitting at home 560?
521. 520. It was 600 about a week ago.
Even if he is cheating, that's still really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rockies have 3 hitters in the top 10. Tulowitzki leads the league. Charlie Blackmon is tied for 3rd. And Justin Morneau at 321. Good battle here for Justin Upton. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And high for a full count. Chris Johnson's next. He has one of the 2 Braves hits. And ball 4. All gifts are accepted. Garza with a free pass with 1 out. Tom?
Guys, remember 2012, the Rockies had another issue with alleged sign stealing when Jamie Moyer accused Chipper Jones of relaying signs from second base. Chipper's reaction, unfittable for print, but at the time he said, I don't need to steal signs. Your fastball is 82.
Well, why's he got to go there? I don't understand all that rigmarole over all that stuff. I mean, it goes on all the time. I mean, it's part of the game.
It is part of the game.
And if you're not good enough to hide them, too bad.
Yeah, and that I always took pride in trying to steal. I mean, I was never that successful, but just see if you could pick up something while you're out there at second base.
I mean, if you're not going to work hard enough to hide your signs with a runner in scoring position, then shame on you. I mean, and what if a pitcher's tipping his pitches? Are you out of courtesy? Are you not supposed to put that into your game plan?
To second. Segura avoids the charging base runner Upton, and the Brewers complete another impressive 4-6-3 double play. All signs pointing to a Milwaukee lead after 4 innings. They lead 3-1. Leads 3-1. Gene Segura's 2 for 2 with a couple of runs. Different look for them at the top of their order without Gomez. But boy, Segura's been impressive tonight.
He has certainly gotten things started.
Little tapper. Harang can't get it, and Segura's going to have a perfect night at the plate.
The only chance Aaron had was to practically dive and lie down in front of this baseball, and that wasn't going to happen.
He would have had to do the John Smoltz stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, he would have.
Which, under any sense of decency and decorum, is never allowed again in a major league game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, people sitting here in the stands are thinking, yeah. I mean, that's just a perfectly placed ball, and even if he got to it, he would have had to flip it with his glove. And I mean, there's not a lot you can do about that. That's a 1 out of 100 play.
Scooter Gennett's popped out and sacrificed. That stop, drop, and roll play never gets old, does it?
Not from Comedy Central.
No pitch. That had to be a gigantic fine in Kangaroo Court.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, what did he say when he came back to the dugout?
Well, I was not here at the time. I was elsewhere, but I'm sure he had some comments.
Oh, we already heard it here.
Yeah.
All the explanations one night.
Oh yeah.
Elian Herrera has grabbed the bat and is on deck. He would hit for Ryan Braun for Milwaukee. Wonder if the oblique problem is hurting Braun again. And a double play. Scooter Gennett lines to second. Ugler nabs Segura at first. 2 out.
If you have to jump for it, okay, fine. But watch what Dan does. He's already getting his feet ready to throw as he's in the air, and that made that much quicker and got the double play. Good play.
So Braun's out of the game. And he'll finish his season series against Atlanta with 3 hits in 26 tries. As soon as we find out why he was taken down here in the 5th, we'll let you know.
Well, the fans who came to the park tonight to get a bobblehead and to break out their boo got their bobblehead and then got shortchanged.
That's low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Season began in great shape for the Brewers. But boy, they've been hammered by injuries over the last 3 weeks. Gomez has missed time. Braun has missed time. Ramos Ramirez is still hurting, although he's eligible to come off the DL on Monday. It may be a few days beyond that, however, for the Milwaukee third baseman. But through all that, they still lead their division. 2.5 games over the Cardinals. And they've won 7 of 10 coming into play tonight. Herrera didn't mean to. Now it's full count. Don't want to face Lucroy with a man aboard. He's on deck.
What bad news for the Rangers today too, huh?
Yeah, Prince Fielder, a herniated disc in his neck. He's elected to have surgery. He's going to seek a second opinion before he gets that problem taken care of, and maybe lost for the year. They too have been racked by injuries. Harang gets out of the 5th inning with no further damage. It's a 3-1 Brewers game. Play for John Smoltz. Well.
It never gets old.
No, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it's priceless. It really is.
It's like some Abbott and Costello routine. You see it, and you've seen it 100 times, but you still laugh.
Oh,
and you wonder, what in the world was he thinking?
You know what he was thinking. He doesn't think there was a play on the field that he couldn't make. That's what he was thinking. You know?
He was breaking, when he was here last week, he was breaking out the Talladega Nights material. I'm on fire. So for you parents of youngsters, we really apologize. We should have had you cover their eyes before we showed that video. But that is the infamous stop, drop, and roll play for John Smoltz, as Elian Herrera takes over for Ryan Braun in right field. The Braves have the man honored by the bobblehead tonight, Andrelton Simmons, set to lead things off. Matt Garza up 3-1. He's allowed 2 Atlanta hits. Braves have hit to 2 double plays tonight. Andrelton hit into the first one. Took a 2-minute and 16-second video review to confirm the double play. He jumps the first pitch and flies out to left. 48 pitches for Garza. He's got 1 out in the 5th. Braves have been very aggressive early in the count tonight.
And 8 of his 13 outs have been fly ball outs. 2 double plays and sacrifice the others. Somebody might elevate one a little higher than he would like. How about old Dan?
He walked into 3rd and scored on Jason Hayward's 2-out single. And a strike. Another fly ball. Davis comes in and makes the play. Looked for a moment, Joe, like he might have had trouble picking up that ball.
You know what he did that was smart was he never looked down. He had locked in on it, and he followed it the whole track to catch it. If he takes his eye off of it, he may not be able to find it again.
The word, by the way, from the Brewers clubhouse, Ryan Braun left with tightness in his right side. Here's Gerald Laird. He flied out his first time and is down a strike. Laird hit it very hard, by the way. It was deep to right center field, and Logan Schaefer caught it a step onto the warning track. Garza tried to avenge a one-run loss to the Braves back on April the 2nd. Double plays helped keep the pitch count down tonight for Matt.
Well, he got beat. He got shut out his last time out also against the Cubs 3-0. But all 3 runs were given up, I think, in the first inning. And he went on to pitch 7 innings, walked 1, struck out 7 in that game.
Well, you know, Garza had to be amped up for that outing against Chicago, a team that was very vocal about expressing his desire to not just beat them, but humiliate them, in essence, every time he faced them. It didn't work out.
That was a #1 pick, first-round pick by Minnesota late in the first round in 2005 out of Fresno State.
Another fly ball. This one to center. Schaefer's there. And Garza's enjoying the friendly pitching confines of Turner Field tonight. He's through 5 with a 3-1 lead here at Turner Field. Game series split tonight here in Atlanta. All year long, Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, low price every day.
And now it's time for you to tweet your photo using #SouthFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. And that's brought to you by AT&T.
That's a healthy boy. Poor girl. Love the cheeks. Reminds me of Laser Baker's cheeks.
I hope it shows that cute picture.
Nice crowd tonight. Perfect baseball weather. 87 degrees at first pitch. Temperatures all around Metro Atlanta were in the low 90s. Rather unseasonable for this time of year. And we're hopeful of good weather all weekend with Colorado in town tomorrow night. So Aaron Harang finally gets to see Lucroy with nobody on base. Jonathan's got 2 of the 3 Milwaukee RBIs in the game. He's having himself quite a series. He's 8 for 12.
Nice night for the beginning of what amounts to a long weekend, judging by the way things were on the connector today coming to work. People are already headed out of town.
1 ball, 1 strike for Lucroy.
Well, the fun-loving guys at the DOT didn't build 7 or 8 extra lanes for the big weekend.
Now they'll wait till school's out and there's more traffic.
One ball, 2 strikes. I've seen enough of this guy.
Yeah, me too. Enough to know that I like him, and now he can take his show and go somewhere else. Enough hits.
Two. And Harang got Lucroy to swing and miss. There's out number 1. Harang's 5th strikeout of the game.
Good pitch. Hard at the knees on the outside corner. That's tough.
Reynolds is lined out and struck out tonight. 1 for 12 against Atlanta pitching, but that one hit a grand slam last night.
He made it count.
Yeah. And he lets it fly. Tell you what, the Brewers have gotten a lot of mileage out of 2 non-roster players who have played significant time for them this year. Both Overbay and Reynolds had to make the team out of spring training and did. And a liner just out of reach of Dan Uglo, who had him played too low. Reynolds around first, and he'll stop there with a 1-out laser.
You know, I was thinking this last night. I don't know if I said it, so if I said it last night, I've already forgotten, so bear with me. But I think this is a perfect role for Reynolds. You don't have to depend on him every day. You just need him to fill in, pinch hit, and with that in mind, if you cut back on his at-bats, you're probably still going to get a good percentage of home runs and production out of him, and as a result, fewer strikeouts. But this might be tailor-made for him.
He's playing third base tonight in place of the injured Aramis Ramirez. But he and Overbay have also shared time at first base, and what the Brewers have said is how pleasantly surprised they've been with Mark's defense over there. And when you consider who they used at first base last season in Milwaukee with the injury to Corey Hart, that was a very big position of need for them this offseason. Juan Francisco played over there. Alex Gonzalez played over there. I mean, they had everybody manning first base at times.
Pretty much a revolving door.
Yeah, you get a nice little platoon if they choose to do that between him and Overbay at first. He's a guy that certainly can spell Ramirez at third, and when he's in the lineup, there's always that threat that he's going to run into something.
And fouled back by Overbay. 2 balls and a strike. And Thomas has begun to loosen as Harang's pitch count over 80 now, and he's had lots and lots of stressful pitches tonight. Off his knuckles, foul at first. 2-2.
So if Harang can get out of this inning, a decision for Freddie Gonzalez. The Braves tonight have only 2 hits against Matt Garza. The pitcher spot is due up first for the Braves in this inning. Let's see what happens with Overbay. That one's off Laird's glove and all the way back to the backstop. So Reynolds will move up 90 feet. That's pass ball. Gerald just missed it. So that takes away the double play chance. And Overbay with a full count has a man in scoring position, Mark Reynolds. Can't give these guys much more. They lead 3-1.
Not the way Garza's pitching. Overbay came to town. He's had quite a series. Not necessarily a productive one at the plate, but he did just have a double and a run scored. But he's also had a third of an inning of shutout relief pitching. Quite an experience for him here in Atlanta.
He'll probably say, hey, it's my relief effort that got this ball club rolling.
Exactly. That was the shot in the arm they needed.
3-2 pitch. And a good at bat continues for Overbay here. And we say that, I think, really only half jokingly. Sometimes when you're playing poorly, you need a bit of a comical moment like that to just break the tension. Say, all right, you know how to do this. Let's go play.
I think that's why they didn't take batting practice yesterday. It was like, all right, let's try something different. No BP today. It worked.
And it's working again tonight. Milwaukee 3 runs on 8 hits.
It's one of the best fastballs of the night for Aaron, and he was trying to go down and in, have him swing over the top of it, but he still spoiled it.
Did he go? He did not. Nice at bat by Overbay. 2 on, 1 out. How close was this pitch?
Off the plate. I just thought he swung.
Yeah.
So 2 on again for the Brewers in the 6th inning.
Here's the other side with the swing. Yes, he did. But we had the benefit of a phantom camera that about 8 million frames per second. I don't think the third base umpire Brian Knight had that.
Davis 0 for 2. Davis has a hit to left center field. That's going to bring home Reynolds. Overbay on his way to third, and Milwaukee adds to their lead. It's now 4-1. And Freddie Gonzalez will take down Aaron Harang in the 6th inning. So Mark Reynolds with a hit. He comes home on the Davis RBI single. And Aaron Harang is out after 5 1/3 in Game 4 at home against the Brewers.
The Home Depot, and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
Milwaukee's offense having a big night. 4 runs on 9 hits so far, and they've got runners at the corners. And only 1 out in the top of the 6th inning. They have chased Braves starter Aaron Harang. And now Ian Thomas gets ready to go to work. Hope you'll join us this weekend with the Rockies in town tomorrow night. First pitch at 7:35. As always, it's Friday night fireworks. We got 3 with Colorado. Then over the big holiday, we've got the Red Sox in town as well, Monday and Tuesday nights. Get your Braves tickets for these 2 big series in advance. Get them at Braves.com.
First work for Ian Thomas in this series. Last work 6 days ago at St. Louis, 2/3 of an inning. In fact, his last 3 outings have all been less than an inning, but no runs allowed. He's pitched well since he came back from his stint in Gwinnett.
Aaron Harang had trouble in every inning tonight. Now he hopes Thomas can take care of Schaefer and Matt Garza and keep the deficit at 3 runs. They pick off Davis.
That was a great move.
Wow, was it ever?
Leaning back.
And Ron Renicky is going to come out and question another call.
Yeah, he might have a little gripe. I don't know. Looked pretty close.
Tag was on the back. Question is, where was his hand as he was reaching for the base?
Looks like he might have gone over the corner of the base and didn't touch it till the middle of it.
No replay. They're going to live with it. Yeah, he did. His hand missed the front corner.
So big second out. Now it's a lefty-lefty matchup for Schaefer with 2 outs. And he went around. Strike 1.
I just don't know how you allow yourself to get a big enough lead to get picked off in that situation in the first pitch of the at bat.
And stayed high, even count. When Thomas went down to AAA, it was to work on his slider. Had one in college. Didn't really throw it much professionally. See if he's able to break it out here with the left-hander up there. Logan Schaefer. He's blocked by Laird.
That was
saved a run.
Heck of a play.
Yeah, very good.
And now the Braves won't mess around with Schaefer. They'll go ahead and walk him. Pitcher's next. Matt Garza.
Yeah, there's a point where you don't want to get too greedy. Thinking you can retire the lefty versus lefty matchup and then have the pitcher lead off the next inning, but that count, the pitch count wasn't, batter's count wasn't going the right way.
So the Braves will try to retire Garza. He struck out twice against Aaron Harang tonight. And with the luxury of the lead, he can go ahead and air it out at the plate if he wants. Garza's retired. So a good news, bad news inning for Chris Davis. The good news is for Milwaukee, he provided an RBI hit. Bad news is he was picked off.
Inning in a game that will be influenced by the Braves bullpen, which has been fantastic all season long, especially considering what they've accomplished since April 20th, covering the final 27 games. The Braves bullpen has stranded more than 84% of the runners they've inherited. That's best in baseball, to match their 2.02 ERA, which is also best in baseball. The strikeouts are second in the National League. The whip is third in the NL. David Hale has been sensational since moving to the bullpen. One big reason that the Braves have been so efficient in their bullpen has been the lack of bullpen usage. They are the second least used bullpen in the National League. Freddie Gonzalez jokes on a daily basis that there's two things he checks when it comes to the stats pack, and the number one thing is how often he uses his relievers, joking with the local media that as soon as I get my bullpen usage down, then you guys tell me that the starters are throwing too much.
That's the fate of a major league manager, isn't it, Tom? And Alex Wood will be the next man out of the chute for the Braves, as Jordan Schaefer will pinch hit for Ian Thomas here. Braves got to find a way to score some runs tonight. After a 3-4 game spurt where the offense was crisp and efficient, Matt Garza tonight has shut him down on a run on 2 hits. Last night, Kyle Osh, 8 innings of 4-hit, 1-run ball. Jordan shows bunt and takes a strike. That's a good game plan against Matt Garza.
Indeed. Might want to try it again. The ideal thing, I think, with Garza is to push it toward third and make him field it, but Reynolds is in so close right now. I don't know that's a good idea.
Schaefer the bunt. Garza fields, fires a fastball to first and got his man.
Look at Lucroy. Lucroy's patting him on the back. He's slapping his backside. He's like, wow, you made the play.
Yeah.
Wanted to pull that one with him a little more.
And that's probably the one that he's got a better chance of making. When he's got to hurry and make a throw, he doesn't have time to think about it and just let it go. That's where most pitchers have a hard time, is when they try to throw it easier than they throw their pitches, and then they don't know where it's going.
Jason Hayward has the Braves RBI hit tonight. That came in the 3rd inning. Good series for Hayward. 6 for 14. His average up to 238. Hitting the ball with authority the other way. And he thinks about a bunt. Milwaukee gives Hayward the third base line. Look at how much space is between Reynolds and the bag. Jason pulls one to the right side and pops it up. Jeanette's there, 2 out. Now B.J. Upton.
A lot of pop-ups and weak fly ball outs tonight off Garza. Nobody able to square up anything.
A little more than 10 pitches per inning on average for Garza. That is efficient. And here's B.J.
It's funny. He has. I mean, he's been efficient and he's pitching a good ball game, but you know, with 62 pitches, he's only thrown 36 strikes. So it's not like he's been filling up the strike zone.
And had 19 walks in 54 innings coming in.
In the air to right. Herrera back on the warning track at the fence. He can't get it. B.J. Upton with an opposite field homer. His first since May 12th against Tim Lincecum.
And he jumped off his bat, too. Saxby's indescribably good play. Fastball down the middle. And I like the fact that he didn't try to pull that pitch down the middle.
Yeah, could be the spark the offense needs.
B.J. got the bounce and the home run, and the Braves are down 4-2. Fourth homer for Upton on the year. Freddie Freeman, the batter, he's 0 for 2. That puts a little buzz in the crowd at home tonight. And Garza tried to tie up Freeman, missed inside, 2-0. Well, you've got Justin Upton waiting on deck. Braves would love to bring him to the plate with a chance to tie things up. You know all about his home damage this year. Freeman takes a walk. Garza wanted the pitch, didn't get it. Braves like this opportunity now. Tying run comes to the plate. And Justin Upton is a hot Braves hitter. Told you earlier where he ranks as far as batting average is concerned at home. The great majority of his homers have been at home too. And a long one here would tie it up.
This goes to one of the things we were talking about earlier, Tommy. He hasn't had a whole lot of success against Garza in his career. 2 for 13 coming in, but he's a hot hitter. I think that carries more weight.
Yeah, kind of the same similar scenario with Harang and Lucroy.
Yeah.
Way high. not only is Upton hot with 8 hits in his last 15 at bats, 5 of his last 8 hits have gone for extra bases. So he's not just dumping singles in there, he's doing damage with those hits. And that's what he's got in mind here in the Braves' 6th inning. B.J. Upton homered with 2 outs. Freddie Freeman walked. Garza might be a little frustrated. He's behind Justin Upton. 1 ball, no strikes. Ripped foul past third.
Kind of started in St. Louis. That home run, much like the one his brother just hit, was pretty impressive.
Lucroy, nice stop. 2 balls, 1 strike. Now Milwaukee wants to try to settle Matt Garza down here.
They're going to get some action in their bullpen. It's going to buy some time. I think the 2 near wild pitches caused that phone call to the pen.
Wooten begins to throw. And the meeting a brief one. 2 balls and a strike. Braves have action with Upton ahead in the count. Mile high pop up, headed back to the seats.
It was an off-speed pitch, but I couldn't tell if it was kind of a hanger or not.
That was a cement mixer slider there.
It was, yeah, a spinner.
Let's see what Upton gets now. 2-2. Ball in dirt. So now an advantage for Freddie Freeman. He'll be off to the races. Chris Johnson waits next. If Upton could split a gap, Freeman might be able to score from first. Freeman's running. And a swing and a miss. Upton is down on strikes. And that will retire the side. B.J. Upton has hit a homer tonight. An opposite field shot with 2 outs. His 4th long ball of the season cuts the Brewers lead in half. It's now a 4-2 score. second run of the night for Atlanta. As this game moves to the 7th inning, the Brewers will send the top of their order up against a third Atlanta pitcher. We'll tell you who that is in a moment. First, we want to thank our friends at Delta Airlines, proud sponsors of the Atlanta Braves. They'll be jetting us up to Boston after the game Tuesday night here in Atlanta against the defending world champion Boston Red Sox. And here is that third pitcher. It's Alex Wood.
We showed you the graphic earlier, and Tom talked about the great work of the Braves bullpen since late April, and they have been awesome. Those numbers bear that out. But I'm not sure that Alex Wood is cut out for the bullpen. He's struggled a little bit. He hasn't taken to it quite like, certainly not like David Hale has. And I wonder if this is the best spot for him. I don't know.
Well, you know, he did a decent job last year back and forth between the bullpen and the rotation. But, you know, I think that for him, and you know, this is certainly not a knock on him in any way, shape, or form.
How about that play off the bat of Gene Segura? That's the end of his perfect night at the plate. Segura 3 for 4, and a little bit of a tip of the cap to Alex Wood from the Brewers shortstop.
You know, his mechanics are a little unorthodox, and I would venture to say that he would probably be a little bit more efficient, a little bit more consistent, successful with more consistent work, where he can get into a routine and work on some things in the bullpen and kind of, you know, keep things sound and sharp. You know, it's with all those moving parts, it's a little bit tougher with the inconsistent work, I would think.
I think that's a great assessment, because some guys can do it without any problem. Back and forth, doesn't matter. But I think your point about his mechanics is a very good one.
Well, you look at David Hale, look at what he's done, and if you look at him mechanically, he's pretty simple. Not much to it. You know, all those moving parts for Alex is part of what makes him so effective. Is that, you know, it's tough for the hitter to pick up exactly what am I focusing on, where's the ball, where's it coming out of. I mean, there's just a lot of things going on.
Little tapper by Scooter Gennett. Well, Alex is in the bullpen out of necessity right now for the Braves. This is not in any way a demotion or a feeling that he can't start. We know he can and pitch very well there. But with Jordan Walden out, with the early season struggles of Luis Avilan, he's pitching much better lately. And Ian Thomas still very much a work in progress as a major league left-handed relief pitcher. Braves felt they needed a little more depth and, frankly, a little more experience from the left side out there. And Alex provides that.
Well, I don't know about the experience part, but I know that he's darn good.
That's a little loft job into left field off the bat of Scooter Gennett. He's got a 7th inning hit.
But from a stuff standpoint, I get that, especially from the standpoint of Avilan struggling the first 6 weeks. They needed an extra arm down there.
The point about the experience, Alex Wood pitched here last year. Thomas didn't.
Yeah, by comparison to Ian, you're right. But when he went to the bullpen, Ian wasn't on the club. Ian was back in Gwinnett and didn't come back until Jordan got hurt.
Elian Herrera is in there, and that's really a nice problem to have if you look at it from this standpoint. Braves have 6 guys who are capable of starting in only 5 spots.
And you know, you're gonna, most cases, you know, you got a couple young guys in there. You're gonna go with the veteran guys over maybe some of those other young guys. You're a little hesitant to have 4 or 5 young guys in your rotation.
I'm not trying to say that he's not going to succeed out of the bullpen. I agree with Tom. I think it'll be a slower transition for a guy like Alex Wood than for most, because of what Tom was articulating.
Nothing in 2 for Elian Herrera. He came on for Ryan Braun, who left with a tight side. Braun with the oblique problems here in the last couple of weeks. That's something the Brewers have to be, will be very careful in monitoring. After the screen foul, a ball and 2 strikes. Miami beat the Phillies. Told you that earlier. 4-3 was the final. Pittsburgh's beating the Nationals. That's 2-1 in the 7th inning. Saw an amazing stat today about the Pittsburgh Pirates, who've had a very disappointing year. Pirates are 19-26 this season. There's the 1-2 to Herrera. Pittsburgh Pirates have 5 wins out of their starting rotation this year.
Whoa.
Garrett Cole has 4 of them.
Well, that'll put you in some struggles in a hurry.
I think that matchup tonight was Strasburg against Garrett Cole. 2 #1 picks in the draft.
Well, if that's the case, the score reflects it. 2-1. And Herrera stays alive, fouled it off. Swing and a miss. Herrera chased a bad ball, and Wood happy to have the second out of the inning.
Again, that desire to have the high target, high pitch. Just can't get it up there.
Tommy, I know you've said it a million times. Proof positive, you don't have to throw a strike to get one.
Nope. Especially when you're ahead in the count, or when you got 2 strikes on the hitter.
So Jonathan Lucroy hits with 2 outs. Best road batting average in the National League, and Lucroy showed you why in the early innings tonight. An RBI double in the first, an RBI single in the third. Braves got him to strike out in the 6th. So Lucroy a 2-for-3 night.
Oh, I give you some bad info, Chip. Pitching matchup in Pittsburgh was not what I thought it was. It was Blake Treinen against Edinson Volquez, and they're both out of the game.
Well, a pitching matchup, Joe, you would expect with that score.
Yeah. So maybe that other one's later in that series.
Nats are hanging in the East. They start play a game and a half behind the Braves tonight. And folks, they are getting serious about the Ryan Zimmerman playing left field thing. He's been taking fly balls out there every single day. The Nationals are saying he's looking more and more comfortable. He hasn't thrown yet because of the broken thumb, but that's coming, and maybe an option until Bryce Harper comes back. Harper's still a couple of weeks away from return after his surgery. 1 ball, no strikes for Lucroy. Ground ball right side. Uggla's got it, and the throw to first is in time, and this game moves to the 7th inning stretch. Braves are down 2, need a bloop and a blast to tie things up against the Brewers. for our Georgia Power game summary. We've hit the 7th inning stretch. Game 4 between the Braves and Brewers.
Way too many M's on caps in that display right there. B.J. Upton just hit an opposite field home run to draw the Braves within 2, but Segura at the top of the order tonight has been the difference. 3 for 4, 2 runs scored. He has set the table for the likes of Jonathan Lucroy and also Chris Davis, who had a big RBI hit back in the 6th inning.
This game, however, far from decided. The Braves 2 runs, only 3 hits, but they've got Garza wobbling just a bit. He gave up the home run to B.J. Upton, walked Freddie Freeman, then he struck out Justin Upton to end that Atlanta threat. His first and only strikeout of the game was a big one. Let's see if Atlanta can start a 7th inning rally tonight with Chris Johnson leading off. Some of that work tonight for Chris. He had a 2nd inning single.
One of the other things plaguing Chris during this dry spell is how many pitches he's been swinging at outside the zone. Been a little impatient to try to get back on track.
Line towards center. Base hit for Chris Johnson. Tying run to the plate again for Atlanta. And it's bobblehead night for Andrelton Simmons. Let's see if he can do something special here.
That was an awesome Chris Johnson swing.
Yep, ball a little bit up. Put a good swing on it.
Look at his balance too. Kind of leaning in toward the plate, followed through all the way through it. See if Andrelton can shoot one to right field through that hole.
First pitch swing and a pop-up. Shallow right center. Schaefer got a great jump. And he's there for out number 1. I don't know the answer to this question, so I'll ask Dave. How many outs on first pitches do the Braves have tonight? Seems like they've been more than 5. And Simmons a 1 pitch out here in the 7th. Right on 5. One of them was a sacrifice. So that's helped Garza along. And now Dan Uggla. Dan's walked and scored one of the 2 Braves runs. Dan's last home runs April 14th. He had a 2-homer game against the Phillies.
His only homers of the year.
And a big cut there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The side of Field and Colbeth's mask.
Good eye. 2 balls and a strike.
Garza looked like his legs were giving out under him.
Tipped and caught by Lucroy. Now a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Pulled foul.
There's some aspects of Dan's swing that are similar to that of Reynolds, in that his top hand comes off the bat, but the rest of it that's one-handed goes through the zone really fast. It's just a matter of getting the right pitch.
Another 2-2 pitch. And he fought it off.
Spoiled a good one.
Yeah, a real good one.
David Carpenter and Anthony Vivaro loosening up. If the lineup card gets down to the pitcher spot, one of those men will be next. Johnson at first with 1 out. And Uggla took inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
I don't blame him for going in there. He swung at a pitch in there earlier in this sequence. Swung right through it. Had a good cut at it, but it didn't look like a strike then, and it wasn't on the last pitch.
Yeah, if he's going to get him to swing at that pitch again, it's going to have to be below the waist. It's going to be have to be that one that's looks like a strike but finishes down out of the zone. That one there, I don't think looked like a strike at all.
Dan spoiled another. Swing and a rocket to left. One at bat by Uggla. Spoiled a couple of nasty pitches from Garza, a couple of excellent takes. And now the Braves in business, 2 on, 1 out.
There's that sound again, Chip. Down the middle and squared up. And stayed on the bat a little longer too.
Yeah, and there's the importance of following off that nasty pitch before that. You make him throw that and try to throw that again, and so many times the pitcher's not able to do it back to back.
And now Ron Renick's going to go to the center of the diamond, and it looks like he's going to get Matt Garza, who looks none too happy about the way this 7th inning has started. He gives up the baseball. He hasn't given up the lead yet. 4-2 Milwaukee. 2 on, 1 out for the Braves, who have things cooking here at home. back-to-back here in Atlanta have chased him in the 7th, but not before. Here's our Volkswagen pitching performance.
But right now his line is very good. 6 in the 3rd innings and just giving up 2 runs, but he's got a couple guys on base that belong to him. 3 walks, 1 strikeout. There again, Tom, you referred to that earlier about some odd lines in that category.
Well, see if the Braves can get in their bullpen and make them pay a little bit, take advantage of this opportunity here.
That's Brandon Kintzler making his 16th appearance. His 15th appearance was against the Braves the opening game of this series, and he had a 1-2-3 7th inning with no strikeouts. Low to mid 90s with a slider. He had some shoulder problems that kept him on the DL in the early part of April, but he's had 4 straight scoreless appearances.
Gerald Laird has flied to center twice. Johnson at second, Dan Uggla at first. Two straight inside for Laird, 2-0.
Gerald hit the ball deep to right center his last time up, and he hit it a ton. Just didn't get it out of here because he hit it to the deepest part of the park. He'd put a good swing on it. That was against Garza.
Nowhere near 3-0.
Boy, a quick removal of the mask and a sharp tongue from Matthew Lucroy, too. Gonna get him to settle down.
Three balls, no strikes. That one at the tomahawk. Now 3-1. Ryan Domit on deck. He would bat for Alex Wood.
Evan Gattis had a bat out in the on deck circle while they were making the pitching change, but it was called back. Again, he's been battling a virus. Big pitch right here in this ball game. After falling behind 3-0.
Payoff. Bouncing ball left side. Reyes can't get it. It's off his glove. And the Braves will get their 3rd run. Laird on his way to second. It is in safely.
We'll have to watch the replay to see where Segura was. But boy, this happens a lot. Third baseman ranging, who's guarding the line, ranging to his left. And I'm not sure Segura could have gotten it either. But just tip it far enough away to have everything go sideways for the Brewers and a big break for Atlanta.
Laird with a hustle double and an RBI. And Gerald may have shaken himself up out at second base. Jim Lovell out to check on him, as well as Braves manager Freddie Gonzalez. So it's a 4-3 score. That third run charged to Matt Garza. And now decision time for Ron Roenicke, the Milwaukee skipper, with Ryan Domit ready to be announced.
First RBI of the year for Gerald Laird, too. And we've said so many times, Chip, during the course of the season, that Gerald always seems to do something to help the Braves win. He does something good, throwing out a runner, making a good stop, which he's already done tonight behind the plate to save a run. It looks like maybe he was complaining about his back after that head-first slide. That was a big play.
A 3-hit inning for Atlanta. And now it will be Ryan Domit. Domit had a huge at bat on May 18th up in St. Louis when he turned around that Rosenthal fastball and ripped a double into the right field corner. And now it looks like Domit will stand by as the Brewers employ a double switch. Jeff Bianchi is going to come in to play second base. And Milwaukee's going to go to its bullpen. They're not going to let Kinsler face Domit.
Nobody there. This is just a defensive switch for some reason. Well, nobody's been in the bullpen warming up that we could see.
He's calling for a left-hander to face Domit. And now this might be the spot where you see Evan Gattis. Game on the bases for Atlanta. The wheels really turning in the home seventh. Showed nobody warming up. And so the first man to come striding out of the bullpen was Zach Duke. But that's apparently not who Ron Roenicke wanted.
And they're in the bullpen there when nobody's warming up. Wooten was warming up earlier. Will Smith is the guy coming in to pitch. He hasn't been warming up, and you can see Wooten put his hands on his head like nobody was loosening up.
And so now Will Smith is going to come on and pitch, and I'm sure Freddie Gonzalez wants an explanation as he saw Zach Duke come striding in from the bullpen. He wonders if Duke is still eligible to pitch in this game and what move Ron Roenicke wished to make.
How many pitches you get, Tom? 8.
Well, you know, he'll get his 8 warm-up pitches here, and then, you know, maybe depending on how he feels, they might walk Domit, give him a couple more throws. And I mean, I've seen this happen from time to time, and saw it happen early 90s with Mike Stanton. Brought him into a game. I think Bobby forgot that Leo had made a trip, and he went out there he was going out there to talk to the pitcher and got half, or no, it was the other way around. Bobby had gone out, and Leo went out there, started running out there to go talk to the pitcher, and forgot to ask Bobby once he crossed that line, it's kind of the same thing. Put his hands on his head. It was, oh my God. And they brought Stanton in, and he threw his 8 warm-up pitches. He threw about 6 throws to first to pick the guy off at first, and away we went.
By the way, we had 3 umpires talking with Freddie Gonzalez, and now the 4 umpires are going to gather right by the first base line. I hope somebody's counting the warm-up pitches, by the way.
I don't know if they have or not.
And so Fielding Cobreth is the man with the lineup card behind the plate. He's trying to sort things out here as the Brewers had mass confusion as to whom they wanted to come in and pitch in this Atlanta 7th inning.
Well, it looks like a mass confusion of what was even going on in the bullpen. I mean, it looked like Renicky had a look on his face when all that was going on. Like, did nobody call down there, or something?
Well, I got to tell you, that's at least 8.
Yeah.
He's getting. The truck's been counting for us. This is number 8 right here.
Well, he threw that one pretty good.
So now Fielding Cobreth is going to talk with Ron Renicky, and Freddie Gonzalez is asking a question here. What in the world's going on? First it was Duke, then he went back to the bullpen, then it was Will Smith.
Well, if I'm the pitcher right now, I'm putting somebody out there at the middle infield. I'm playing catch.
Now the umpires are going to review.
Who went out to the mound before he made the double switch? Did they already go to the mound once on Kinsler, meaning they can't go out twice for the same hitter after Laird?
No, there was I think the last visit to the mound was when Garza was still in the game,
before he brought Kinsler in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be honest, I have no idea what Fielding Cobreth could be asking New York here.
So they tried the double switch, or they're in the process of a double switch, right?
Correct. They've got Bianchi in the game to play second base. I wonder if Ron Renicky came out and gave the umpires Smith's name first, and then Duke came out of the bullpen, and the Braves may be wondering if Duke is the man that should be in the game, not Smith. If that turns out to be the case, Duke's back in the bullpen, I would presume, and maybe throwing here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the rule is there, but it seems to me I've seen situations where you've had 2 lefties or 2 righties and then make the call down there and the wrong guy came out. I mean,
but some of our folks in the truck, a couple of our camera operators are saying that they thought number 85 went to the mound. Now Rick Kranitz is the pitching coach, and he's number 39. I have no idea.
Yeah, it was not Rick Kranitz. It was I thought it was Tomlin. I think was who it was, because my immediate reaction was that Randy Tomlin or whoever that I played against, and I was looking, well, who's the pitching coach? So whoever went out there was not Rick Kranitz. It was not the pitching coach.
And I've not seen Rick at the ballpark today. Maybe he is here, or maybe it's graduation season. Maybe he's away from the team tonight.
I don't know why in the world Smith is not playing catch with somebody right now.
Right, that's kind of silly. Yeah,
I mean, they may have told him you can't throw any more pitches, but he certainly can be playing catch with somebody.
Well, hopefully, with other replay stuff, they tell us what angle they use to make a decision. Maybe they will also explain to us what this was about.
Okay, this was in the 6th inning. That's Tomlin.
That's Garza.
Talking to Garza.
Okay, that's okay.
Right.
But I was wondering if somebody else came out and talked to Kinsler. And the answer to that is no.
That's what I thought. And we're getting word from the truck. When Smith came in, it was
Duke had already come out.
Well, and that's what the Braves are questioning, and that's what Cobreth is questioning. Is Zach Duke eligible in this game, or was he entered into the game and then not used and is then unavailable the rest of the way.
Well, one other note, Gretchen just told us that Lee Tunnell, their bullpen coach, is also away for the graduation of a child. So mention your pitching coach and your bullpen coach, then you can understand some of this horrible confusion.
So a 10-minute delay, and Ryan Doumit will hit right-handed now against Smith, with runners second and third and one out. So we know the reason for the delay. We don't know the outcome of the decision, whether or not Zook is eligible the rest of the way or not. Infield in for Milwaukee, a 1-0 count for Doumit. And that one a beauty. 1 ball, 1 strike. Will Smith has been awfully tough. 30 strikeouts in 21 1/3 innings this year. The Brewers traded Norichika Aoki to the Royals for this guy. Doumit fouled that off his foot. That's a foul ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Laird and Ugla, the runners for the Braves. Now a 1-2 pitch. And that missed the plate. Even count.
You might get that call for a strike because you gave up on it once, but you're not going to give up on it a second time. And that's what they were hoping, is that he would go after that pitch knowing it wasn't a strike.
Ryan fought it off. How has Doumit fared this year as a pinch hitter for the Braves? He's 5 for 18. Excuse me. He's 6 for 20. 5 for 18 left-handed. 1 for 2 with a homer right-handed. That homer, the 100th of his career. 2-2. Hot shot! Base hit! Score. Here comes Laird around. He will score without a throw, and Ryan Doumit puts the Braves in front.
Tell you what, this guy's put together a stretch of about 3 straight pinch hit appearances that have been unbelievable. Beginning with the one in St. Louis off Rosenthal. Schaefer came charging in. He thought he had a play on Laird, but he stumbled as right after he fielded the ball. His footwork got messed up, and he had no play.
So the Braves have scored the last 4 runs in the game. They lead 5-4, and now Hayward can hit with Doumit at first and 1 man out. Situations like that are why the Braves traded a first-round pick to get Ryan Doumit. And he comes up big again tonight.
Now Wooten is up in their bullpen.
Popped up left side. Long run Reynolds. He cannot get there. So now, guys, this sets up real nicely for the Braves. They lead. They've got the 5, 6, 7 hitters for the Brewers due in the 8th. And, you know, Carpenter and Kimball are chomping at the bit to pitch tonight.
Tom, you said something about during that delay, why wasn't Will Smith playing catch with somebody? And I agree. Maybe he felt like 8 was enough.
Up the middle. Great play, Bianchi. And the throw to first wide. How in the world did Bianchi get to that ball?
Wow.
That's one of the best I've ever seen.
That's unbelievable there. That might be worth.
Was he on the bag?
I don't think he was.
And Freddie is going to ask for another look.
That was an unbelievable piece of glove work by Bianchi.
I don't know. Yeah. It looked a lot closer in that than it did when I first looked at it. And that's one of those ones, I guess, I don't know if you can tell when it's in the glove or not.
Right.
A very long inning for the umpires. Managers can challenge force plays, excluding neighborhood plays. And so here we are in the 7th inning. I'm assuming Freddie Gonzalez could ask the umpires to review this.
Well, I'm not sure they're going to let him.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, if you have leeway for the neighborhood play, then that's, I mean, that, I don't know what constitutes neighborhood play in terms of, well, is there some judgment in terms of did he really have a chance to turn a double play or not, which he clearly did not. But
well, look, the umpires are now huddling, and here's a list of what's ineligible.
And the judgment portion of the neighborhood play is on that list.
And so guess what? Fielding Cobreth is, after consulting with the other umpires, going to ask New York to take a look at that play at second base. I hope the call's overturned, but whether it is or not, that was one spectacular effort by a guy who just checked into the game. And the crowd's reacting obviously to the replay on the scoreboard.
well, but there again, I mean, he still tried to complete the double play, so it wasn't like there was no trying to turn the double play. So where do you draw the line on the neighborhood call? You know,
yeah, I agree. I'm really surprised they're looking at it.
I mean, they could very well be talking to New York, saying, "Hey, whether or not they can, I don't know, can we review this? I don't know."
They've got to know that. They better know that going in. Well, it's been a wild inning.
Yeah. We had a 2-minute 16-second review in the second inning. We had the long review to determine the eligibility of Zach Duke to remain in the game out of the Brewers bullpen after he came onto the field of play and then went back to the bullpen. And now the umpires are checking out the play of Bianchi and Segura and looking at the review on the scoreboard and the same angle that we showed. I don't know if there's enough evidence to overturn the out call at second base.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's where do you draw that line on the neighborhood play in relation to, you know, you're trying to turn a double play, or realistically how much of a chance do you have to turn a double play? Because he's, you know, he tried to turn it, and you know, I've seen some neighborhood plays that aren't that close.
Right. Doma did a great job too, sliding into him over the top of the bag.
You know what would have made the play unreviewable? If he just dropped it on the transfer rule.
They're deciding in New York if it was a neighborhood play before they decide if he's safe or out.
Well, I mean, then it ges back to where do you draw the line on?
Apparently they said it wasn't not a neighborhood play and he's safe.
Guys, the neighborhood play can be very confusing, but as it was explained to me, you can review it if the question is trying to determine whether or not the throw pulled the fielder off the bag. If that is the case, then the neighborhood rule doesn't apply, and therefore it's reviewable.
So that is going to be scored, an infield hit for Jason Hayward. Domit is in safely at second base, and that review 4 minutes and 48 seconds. Since the time Freddie Gonzalez took the field of play. B.J. Upton, the hitter, with one out.
Did Will Smith warm up any?
He did. He was throwing a few that time.
One ball, no strikes for B.J. Upton. And that's low, 2-0. A 3-run seventh. Braves have 5 hits in the inning. Does BJ have a green light? He apparently didn't. 3 balls and a strike. Just past 10 o'clock in Atlanta. Braves were down 4-2. They've scored 3 runs in this inning, and they're not done yet. Upton walks. And the game unraveling for Milwaukee in this inning. Now a chance to really put a hurting on the Brew crew. Matt Garza can only sit and watch and wait to see what Will Smith accomplishes. 4 runs charged to Garza, 1 run charged to Kinsler. And now Smith has the bases loaded for Freddie Freeman, who's 0 for 2. And that's off the plate. Domit, Hayward, and B.J. Upton aboard. Foul at first.
They need a ground ball, and for Will Smith and his good work all year long, his outs have come from his slider, especially the lefty. So I think at least on this pitch, Freddie's got to be looking for that slider again. And he got it.
Braves are getting a few more chances in the last several days to hit with the bases loaded. This is Freeman's 5th at bat in that situation. 1-2 pitch. And he's down on strikes. That's big second out for Will Smith, and that'll be the last pitch he throws, as Justin Upton is the scheduled Atlanta hitter, and he'll come up with 3 on, 3 in, and 2 out in a crazy home 7th inning. Let's see if the Brewers avoid any pitching confusion. We'll find out if that's the case when we come right back. Showed you an interesting shot of about 25 minutes ago, it seemed, when Rob Wooten was exasperated over the pitching change mix-up. Well, Rob, be careful what you wish for, because guess who's in the game with no place to put Justin Upton. And there you see Rob Wooten's work through 12 games for the Brewers. Some kind of 7th, huh, Tom?
Yeah, and the start of the confusion was when Zach Duke initially came out of the bullpen and crossed the line in left field. He is still eligible for this game. Rule 3.08a, if no announcement of a substitution is made, the substitute shall be considered as having entered the game if and only if, as a pitcher, when he takes his place on the pitcher's plate. He could have come all the way onto the infield and gone back to the bullpen.
Thank you, Tom. And Tommy, you said that has happened before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certain I've seen it where you get the wrong guy comes out of the bullpen, and especially nowadays, I mean, especially here, you got 3 rubbers out there in the bullpen. So right. I know there are times where we've had 3 guys warming up, so you naturally have at least 2 guys to throw from the left or the right side, and you signal out there who you want. Sometimes there's a little bit of confusion, so I know I've seen guys come out that door, and then it's like, no, wrong guy.
Well, the Braves have the right guy in the batter's box. Justin Upton to face Rob Wooten. Bases loaded, 2 outs. And ball 1.
Wooten 87 to 91. Fastball slider split.
The Brewers are on their 4th pitcher of the inning. Matt Garza started the frame. Gave up the single to Chris Johnson. Got Simmons to pop out on the first pitch. Then Dan Uggla and extended it back. Rifled a single to left. Bob Renicky went to the bullpen. Brought on Kinsler. He gave up a double to Gerald Laird. Then the confusion began. Smith allowed a Doman hit, a Hayward hit, an Upton walk, a Freeman strikeout. And oh, by the way, we had the great stab by Bianchi and the flip to Segura with the glove, and that bang play at second base was overruled.
Well, we got a play right here, a pitch right here that went to 2-0. He needed that strike there to not fall behind and have to make a good pitch to Justin in this situation. He was hoping he'd swing at one of those first 2 sliders, and he didn't.
He didn't swing at that one. It was called a strike. McCoy caught the foul tip. It's 2-2.
4 straight sliders. Looks like he starts with a split finger grip. He makes the adjustment in the glove if he needs to.
Wow, see if he likes his slider that much, or he's going to try and trick him.
If he's got a good split, that'd be the time to use it.
He's battled back to a 2-2 count.
Ooh. Lucroy. That was a decent slider to hit. Stayed in the middle of the plate.
Oh.
And then direct hit to Jonathan. Wooten was very fortunate there.
The bottom of the 7th inning started at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Two balls, 2 strikes. And a breaking ball forced Upton to flinch, and he took a 3rd strike. Atlanta scores 3 times in the 7th inning. A 47-minute bottom of the 7th gives the Braves a 5-4 lead as we head to the 8th. From 47 minutes. Those Brewers to get 3 outs in the inning. Back to our AT&T U-verse trivia question. Ryan Braun and Justin Upton have hit the 6th and 7th most homers in the league since 2012. Who leads the National League in homers since the beginning of the 2012 season?
I'm going to go with Stanton, my first gut reaction.
I'll go with Goldschmidt.
Goldschmidt. You know, the Pittsburgh Pirates hit a lot of home runs last year. I'm going to say Andrew McCutchen. MVP candidate.
Right team.
Pedro Alvarez. 74 homers is the answer. And let's hope David Carpenter's the answer for a quick 8th. He's on in place of Alex Wood, who pitched a scoreless inning for Atlanta in the 7th. And Mark Reynolds, the Brewers batter.
David pitched in the opening game of the series. Also gave up a home run to Ryan Braun. But as we know, Braun is out of the game.
A tight right side knocked him out tonight after an 0 for 2 game at the plate.
About the two guys at the bottom of the order there in the 7th inning, Gerald Laird and Ryan Dolman. Boy, did they come through with some big hits.
Reynolds late on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Swing and a miss. Reynolds is down on strikes. So David off to a good start in the 8th inning, and you can get an autograph from him tomorrow night from 6:30 to 7. David will be signing in Monument Grove. All you have to do is donate 20 cans of food or $20. Help the Braves strike out hunger. That's sponsored by Kroger.
That Giants at Colorado game this afternoon that was stopped by rain a couple of times has been suspended.
Frankly, I wonder what took him so long.
Well, it's been up on the board for a long time. It could have been suspended some time ago.
Okay.
Which means they will pick that game up where they dropped off the next time those two teams meet.
And that's an important game. The Giants have a 3-game lead over the Rockies out west. Cardinals came back and beat Arizona 4-2. The Diamondbacks led that game much of the evening. So if that score, well, let me take that back. If this score holds up in Atlanta, the Cardinals could be a game and a half out in the Central. Well hit towards center. Upton on the run. Got there. Sharply hit. 2 outs.
Playing deep. 1-run lead late. Playing deep. All he had to do was cut across. Nice play.
It's not too often you're catching a ball that deep in the field and you're running lateral to go get it.
So Chris Davis bats, base is empty, 2 out. You know, we talk all the time, guys, about how the breaks in baseball always even out over the course of a long season. If you think about Alex Wood as a Braves starter, all the tough luck losses he had, as it stands now, he's in line to pick up the win with an inning of 1-hit relief. Davis launched one way foul and into the second deck.
That's going to start all kinds of argument with your buddy on Twitter about the importance of a win.
Well, Alex held the 1, 2, 3, and 4 hitters down for Milwaukee in the top of the inning. The Braves sent 9 to the plate in their half, took the lead.
Yeah, good pitch. He didn't get the call on the first front door slider he threw him, but he did this time.
One ball, 2 strikes.
it looks like Davis is thinking nothing but long ball. I mean, he is stepping way, putting his stance up. Watch this. Opening his front foot up and angling it so that he can clear his hips. He's wanting something middle of the plate, in and down, that he can launch.
Three and two. He launches this ball to left, but not deep enough. Upton's got it, a step onto the warning track. Davis hit a bullet, but he's retired. Milwaukee's out in order in the 8th, and the Braves look for some late insurance. Over Milwaukee. We hope you'll join us all summer long here at Turner Field. We have great family events all summer long. You can see them there. Tomorrow night we've got the Rockies in town for Friday night fireworks. Then the Boston Red Sox Monday and Tuesday nights. Check out the entire list of Braves promotions all summer long and the great ticket deals too at Braves.com. Here's the man that got the Atlanta 7th started, third baseman Chris Johnson. A 2-hit, 1-run night for Chris this evening. Simmons and Ugla to follow. In the air to center. Schaefer diving try. Did he get there? Yes, he did. Did he? Don't think he did.
I'm not sure he did either.
I'm not sure, but I think we've set an unofficial record for replays in a Major League game tonight. And the umpires are going to check this one out.
The umpire whose play is questioned comes in and gets on the headphones, and the crew chief gets on the headphones. Fielding Culbreth, the home plate umpire tonight, is the crew chief. base hit. Chris Johnson.
So 3 hits for Chris. That's an important play in this game. That represents a big insurance run at first.
That's why Freddie wanted to make sure it was an out.
Here's Simmons. Their shortstop is 0 for 3. Bit of foreshadowing for Andrelton's first at bat tonight. That was the first replay.
Boy, been a bunch.
He showed bunt and took the ball. 1 ball, no strikes. To left. Davis gives ground and makes a shoulder high catch. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Dan Uggla. First start, I should say second start for Dan since the 18th of May. And he's made the most of his opportunity tonight. He's walked, he's singled, he's scored 2 of the Braves' 5 runs. Another off-speed pitch that Dan took. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kimbrel's getting ready for the top of the 9th inning. The 8, 9, and 1 spots are scheduled for Milwaukee. The 2-2 is cut on and missed. Uggla is retired. That's out number 2. And here's one of the unsung heroes of the night for the Braves, Gerald Baird. Seventh inning double made it a 1-run game. Called strike.
All those breaking balls, Gerald, when if they're looking for one, you got a fastball down the middle.
There was the hook. And he missed it. 0-2. Pirates held off Washington tonight. That's good news. Pittsburgh 3, Nationals 1, a final score at PNC Park.
Mets had been reeling. They pulled out a win tonight against the Dodgers.
High pop into center. And Logan Schaefer won't need a review on this one. He'll haul it in, and that retires the side. What a night for Atlanta. An oddly entertaining game in so many ways. Let's see if Craig Kimbrell can turn off the lights for the Brewers offense and complete a 3-1 series victory over the visiting Milwaukee Brewers. Lights are out. The Flames are flashing on the scoreboard, and that means it's Craig Kimbrell time for the night. 5-4, Atlanta the lead.
Of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Welcome back to the bottom of the ninth inning. Craig Kimbrell on to try and close it out for the Braves. They lead 5-4. And as promised earlier in the game, we have the AT fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to #SouthFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T.
Like a good outing out in the center field seats. Good place to watch the game.
And a good place to watch Craig Kimbrell try to earn his 12th save and win the series outright for the Braves tonight.
Well, a 1-2-3 inning would be really nice.
Wow.
I don't know when the last one that time we saw that.
Romero Pena's checked in for Dan Uggla at second base as Logan Schaefer is the first man out for Milwaukee. Ricky Weeks will be next. He'll bat for Wooten.
David Carpenter actually had a 1-2-3-8.
And a strike for Schaefer.
First appearance for Craig in this series. He last pitched on Sunday to save that game at St. Louis. 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout.
Just a little tardy. 0-2. That's encouraging.
Sure is. On that last pitch. Did I see that right?
He's had a couple 99s.
That was a little bit of an emergency hack there.
Sure was. Yes, it was.
Right on that pitch, though, at 97.
Yeah, he wants that one back.
No balls, 2 strikes. Not what Kimbrel wanted to do. He overcooked the breaking ball and he hit Schaefer on an 0-2 count.
Boy, he really held on to that one a long time.
Kimbrel's hit 2 batters now this year. And he's got Ricky Weeks in the box. Also has a fast runner at first base. Let's see how Milwaukee plays it in the 9th. Anthony's a strike. Weeks got the start in game 1 of the series. He was 0 for 4. Came to town, one of their real hot hitters.
That was a better breaking ball.
Yeah, that's the one he wanted to throw to Schaefer, but I think that fastball that he fouled back to the screen made Craig want to make sure he got it in there. Didn't leave it over the plate, and like I said, Joe, he overcooked it.
Close play at first. Milwaukee's had a man picked off tonight. That was Chris Davis in the 6th. So another 0-2 pitch instead to first.
Well, Craig's got the right idea, or somebody on the bench does, as far as instructing him to throw her, because they will run. And even in a situation like this 0-2 where you could pitch out if you wanted, Ron Renicke's very aggressive on the bases.
Weeks went around and he's down on strikes. So Kimbrel gets his first out of the 9th inning, and we go back to the top of the order. As you know, Craig Kimbrel is chasing some Atlanta history. He's closing in on John Smoltz's franchise record of 154 career saves.
Mark Wohlers was in the ballpark last night. Maybe 2 nights ago.
Big night for Segura in the leadoff spot. 3 hits in 4 tries. He scored a couple of runs. Strike 1.
Trying to speed his swing up a little bit to try and catch up, and thinking about pulling, and no way you're going to pull that fastball away.
Yeah, that one was only 97, but that one seemed to come out of his hand the best.
Sure did. Hard to argue with 98, 99, 97. Their pitcher spot is due up next, so they've got a pinch hitter out for him. Martin Maldonado.
2-2 pitch for Segura. And shot foul past first. No sign of Carlos Gomez tonight. Didn't start. A little bit of a tight back. Braves would just as soon see him in 2015. Two balls, two strikes. And out of play again. Good battle with Segura here. As Kimbrel readies to make his 15th pitch of the inning.
Which was about his average 2 years ago. Taking a little longer so far this year.
Two outs. And it will be Maldonado. So Maldonado is the batter for Wooten. And a breaking ball, a strike. Maldonado started behind the plate in game one. The Braves won that game 9-3. The first time the Brewers have lost a game with Martin behind the plate as the starting catcher. The 0-1 pitch. At the knees, 0-2.
Fastball location tonight has been far superior than recent outings. That he's throwing harder too.
Man, as good as he's throwing it and spotting it, it's hard to think he'd go away from it, but
struck him out with a 99-mile-an-hour bullet. And the Braves take 3 out of 4 from Milwaukee in a wild, wacky, weird winning game here in Atlanta. The Braves now 26-20. Good start to the homestand as we bid adieu to the Brew Crew tonight. 5-4 your final score in Atlanta. We're back with more in a moment.